Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Pharmaplanet. Today in this video we will discuss about detection and reporting of adverse drug reaction. So here in last lecture we discussed about the detection of drug interaction method, about the detection of drug interaction. Here we will discuss about the detection method of adverse drug reaction and also the reporting of adverse drug reaction. So first, intensity of adverse drug reaction. Depending upon the intensity of the reaction, we can classify them in a minor ADRs, moderate ADRs and severe ADRs. So first, minor ADRs. Minor ADRs, they are minor adverse drug reaction. They are the reaction that requires no therapy and that do not require any type of antidote, and also the prolongation of hospitalization of the patient that is not required in case of minor ADRs. मतलब यहाँ पे कोई थेरेपी की जरूरत नहीं है, माइनर ADR है, यहाँ पे सिम्टम्स है, लेकिन यहाँ पे कोई हॉस्पिटल में रुकने की या फिर एंटीडोट के लिए कोई एंटीडोट की जरूरत नहीं है. Then moderate ADRs. Moderate ADRs, that means they are the reaction which requires change in drug therapy. Drug therapy में कुछ change करना पड़ेगा या फिर according to the adverse drug reaction, the specific treatment that is required, and also the patient need to stay in the hospital also for 1 or 2 days. So these are the moderate ADRs, we can say moderate adverse drug reaction. Then third one, that is the severe ADR. Severe ADR, they are potentially, we can say they are the life-threatening reaction, and also they can cause the permanent disease, or we can say the permanent damage to the organ. And in such a condition, the intensive medical treatment that is required. These are also known severe ADR. They are also known as a lethal type, or in this condition that directly or indirectly there might be the chances of death of the patient. So in this severe ADR, always the care should be taken. So these are the intensity of drug interaction. This might be the intensity of the adverse drug reaction that might happen to the patient. Then the detection of adverse drug reaction. Adverse drug reaction, they are detected in various phases of new drug development. These are mainly categorized into two types. Adverse drug reaction, if you want to make them classify, then we can say that is pre-marketing studies and post-marketing studies. We will see this one by one. Pre-marketing, that means before marketing. Post-marketing, that means after the marketing of the product. So first, pre-marketing studies. These are the studies conducted before marketing of drug for general clinical use. देखिए, pre-marketing studies मतलब ये studies कब की जाएगी? Before the marketing of the product. यहाँ पे अभी तक product market में नहीं आया और इससे पहले हम यहाँ पे studies कर रहे हैं. And this will involve, again we can say the pre-marketing studies, that is again divided into the preclinical and clinical studies. In clinical studies, there is a phase 1, 2 and 3. So if we want to detect the adverse drug reaction, then we can go for a pre-marketing studies. In pre-marketing studies, it includes preclinical and clinical studies. मतलब यहाँ पे preclinical और clinical studies जब यहाँ पे खत्म होगी तो यहाँ पे कोई adverse drug reaction है तो it will be detected. So first we will see the preclinical studies. During this preclinical study, safety profile of possible new drug candidate is tested in laboratory animals. देखिए यहाँ पे safety profile है तो it will be studied in a preclinical. This is also in vitro and in vivo. In vitro and in vivo, both the studies can be done in a preclinical studies, and that will be done in a laboratory animal. It gives the information of drug, about the acute toxicity, about the safety profile and pharmacological action, target organ in case of toxicity, and its dose dependency. तो मतलब यहाँ पे टॉक्सिसिटी अगर कहीं पे है या फिर द सेफ्टी प्रोफाइल या फिर उनका जो भी ड्रग है जो प्री क्लिनिकल स्टडीज में यूज हो रही है तो उसकी फार्माकोलॉजिकल एक्शन है या फिर वो कौन से ऑर्गन के ऊपर इफेक्ट कर रहा है. सो these are the studies and also the toxicity we can determine over here in the preclinical studies. See further sometime यहाँ पे we can also determine अगर हमें toxicity मिलती है यहाँ पे then we can determine the carcinogenicity, then mutagenicity and also the specific organ toxicity we should determine if we found any type of toxicity in the primary studies. So and on the basis of this we can understand about the adverse drug reaction. Then if the result of animal studies demonstrate that there is safety and efficacy of the drug candidate, then and then only it is proceed on to the testing in human in clinical trial programs. मतलब यहाँ पे जब हमें प्री क्लिनिकल स्टडीज में पता चलता है कि कोई ड्रग है, जो भी ड्रग हम अभी प्री क्लिनिकल स्टडीज ऑनगोइंग है that is safe, and then afterwards it should be used on a humans for a testing purpose for a clinical trial programs. जैसे कि अभी रिसेंटली कोरोना सिचुएशन में जो भी वैक्सीन बन रहा है तो दैट इज इन अ क्लिनिकल ट्रायल फेज, दैट मींस दैट इज इन अ फेज 1 2 3 फेज. तो यहाँ पे अभी क्लिनिकल स्टडीज चल रही है तो यहाँ पे भी प्री क्लिनिकल स्टडीज के ऊपर से हमें पता चलेगा कि अगर कोई ड्रग है उसका एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन आ रहा है या नहीं. देन सेकंड थिंग दैट इज द क्लिनिकल ट्रायल. नाउ क्लिनिकल ट्रायल they are the research studies conducted in human beings to assess the safety and efficacy of the test drugs. These are carried out in 3 different phases. That means यहाँ पे phase 1, 2 and 3 prior to the marketing of the drug. मतलब marketing अभी तक start नहीं हुआ है, मतलब product that is not in a market, और यहाँ पे हमें उससे पहले क्लिनिकल ट्रायल खत्म करना पड़ेगा. या फिर हम कह सकते हैं कि क्लिनिकल ट्रायल होने के बाद ही कोई भी प्रोडक्ट अगर सेफ है then and then only it should be launched in a market. With a stepwise increase in the number of participants, we should go for a clinical trial. That means यहाँ पे initially phase 1 में कम use करेंगे, then afterwards the participant will be increased and in the last stage the participant will be again increased. If result of clinical trial, जो भी यहाँ पे result आते हैं, if the result of clinical trial it demonstrate the safety and efficacy of the drug candidate, then permission is given to the sponsor to market the drug for a general clinical use. मतलब यहाँ पे एक बार टेस्टिंग हो जाता है, टेस्टिंग होने के बाद अगर क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स में it proves that the product, particular drug that is safe to take, then and then only the permission will be given to the sponsor, जो भी उसका स्पॉन्सर है या फिर जिन्होंने लॉन्च की है, जो भी कंपनी है वो मेडिसिन बना रही है, then it will be allowed to launch in a market for a general clinical use. See here the total number of participants that is being tested during the clinical trial, they are limited. That means normally that is nearly 4,000 individuals, and also the children, elderly and patient with the multiple disease. मतलब यहाँ पे कोई अगर कोई person को multiple disease है then they have been excluded from the clinical trials. मतलब क्या है कि यहाँ पे हेल्दी मेन है उनके ऊपर ही स्टडीज की गई है. तो यहाँ पे क्या है, अगेन देयर माइट बी द चांसेस ऑफ एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन व्हेन इट विल बी लॉन्च इन अ मार्केट. तो एक ये फेज है क्लिनिकल ट्रायल. क्लिनिकल ट्रायल से भी यहाँ पे पता चल सकता है कि इज देयर एनी एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन इन आवर प्रोडक्ट और नॉट. Then afterwards, once the pre-marketing studies that is finished, or we can say pre-marketing surveillance that is finished, then afterwards the product that has been now launched in a market, that means now the post-marketing studies that will be started. Here in case of post-marketing studies, the studies they are conducted when a drug is in a market for a general use. Following methods are useful for the detection of adverse drug reaction. Mainly 2 methods are there: Pharmacovigilance Method and Epidemiological Method. तो यहाँ पे ये 2 टेक्निक का यूज होगा और इसके ऊपर से we can go for a post marketing studies, and on the basis of that we can detect adverse drug reaction. तो फर्स्ट वी विल स्टार्ट विद द फार्माकोविजिलेंस मेथड। देखिए पहले हमें यहाँ पे फार्माकोविजिलेंस जानना पड़ेगा। फार्माकोविजिलेंस दैट इज द प्रैक्टिस of monitoring the effect of medical drugs after they have been licensed for use, especially in order to identify and evaluate previously unreported adverse reaction। देखिए यहाँ पे previously unreported adverse reaction ऐसा लिखा गया, मतलब जो already the drug that has been passed from the preclinical studies and clinical studies, even though if there is an unreported adverse drug reaction, then such a adverse drug reaction will be understood or will be detected after the marketing of such a product in by the pharmacovigilance method। Pharmacovigilance, that is also known as a drug safety, and it is the one of the pharmacological science relating to the collection, detection, assessment, monitoring and prevention of the adverse effect with pharmaceutical product। So after all, pharmacovigilance, we can say this is again one of the method, or they are collecting the data about the adverse drug reactions. Then adverse drug reaction reporting, that is an integral part of pharmacovigilance and drug safety surveillance. The most sensitive method, we can say the most sensitive, powerful and cost-effective system for the identification of unknown adverse drug reaction, that is spontaneous adverse reaction reporting to the regulatory authority। मतलब अगर हम इफेक्टिव अगर कोई टेक्निक का यूज करना चाहे तो यहाँ पे फार्माकोविजिलेंस के अंदर the reporting of adverse drug reaction, that is very much important, and that is one of the technique to report such a adverse drug reaction, that is the spontaneous adverse reaction reporting, and this should be reported to the regulatory authority। We will see this spontaneous reporting. The reporting might be directly to the company, directly हम कंपनी को भी यहाँ पे रिपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, और it could be to the regulatory authorities। अगर हम इंडिया में देखें तो यहाँ पे CDSC वो है, तो यहाँ पे directly we can report this such type of ADRs directly to the regulatory authority, और IPC भी है तो IPC को भी हम डायरेक्टली वी कैन रिपोर्ट। When a patient comes across any ADR, he or she should report it to any healthcare professionals। देखिए यहाँ पे पेशेंट को अगर पता चलता है कि there has been development of any adverse drug reaction to him, then he should report to the healthcare professional। यहाँ पे healthcare professional मतलब हम कंसीडर करेंगे डेंटिस्ट, नर्सेज, फार्मासिस्ट एंड डॉक्टर्स। तो यहाँ पे हेल्थ केयर प्रोफेशनल को एक बार रिपोर्ट करना चाहिए जो भी एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन अगर कोई पेशेंट को होता है, तो ऐसी कंडीशन में इट शुड बी रिपोर्टेड। एंड एवरी हेल्थ केयर प्रोफेशनल, आफ्टर द हेल्थ केयर प्रोफेशनल, इट शुड रिपोर्ट टू द सस्पेक्टेड एडीआर टू द रेगुलेटरी ऑथोरिटी। रेगुलेटरी ऑथोरिटी मतलब यहाँ पे एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन मॉनिटरिंग सेंटर है, AMC, और टू द नेशनल कोऑर्डिनेटिंग सेंटर। सो the doctor, now this is the responsibility of doctor, nurse and pharmacist to report such a ADR to the regulatory authorities। देखिए यहाँ पे हेल्थ केयर प्रोफेशनल, it should consider that this is one of the part of his duty, or we can say the healthcare professional, they should consider that this is one of the professional duty that they have to report such type of adverse drug reaction। In case of hospital, डॉक्टर्स दे कैन डिटेक्ट। देखिए डॉक्टर कई बार कांटेक्ट में होते हैं, ऑलवेज दे आर इन कांटेक्ट विद द पेशेंट, सो डॉक्टर्स दे कैन डिटरमाइन इजीली सच टाइप ऑफ ADRs, एंड ऑल्सो दिस इज द ड्यूटीज ऑफ द फार्मासिस्ट ऑल्सो। देखिए यहाँ पे पेशेंट, इफ डॉक्टर ही इज डूइंग एनी टाइप ऑफ पेशेंट काउंसलिंग सेशन में यहाँ पे एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन के बारे में पता चलेगा। देन ऑल्सो if he is going for a ward round, मतलब वार्ड में अगर राउंड के लिए जा रहे हैं, and he can see the patient's chart, and on the basis of patient chart also the person or the doctor he will come to know about the adverse drug reaction। So कहीं से भी अगर adverse drug reaction के बारे में डॉक्टर्स या फिर नर्स और फार्मासिस्ट को मालूम पड़ता है, then directly they should have or they should report to the AMC or National Coordinating Centers. See, the time frame of reporting, that is also important. The report within a specific time frame, for example 7 days upon knowing of any serious ADR, 7 दिन के अंदर अंदर हमें ये रिपोर्ट कर देना चाहिए. Reporting method and template, person should submit report by the post, by fax or internet, any method the person can use. And there is one particular template of ADR. We will discuss in this video about the template also. A verbal report is acceptable in urgent situation. देखिए अगर कहीं पे urgent है तो ऐसे urgency में we can submit directly by verbally. We can communicate to the higher authorities or higher regulatory authorities. But in such a case also the written submission should be completed before the deadline. मतलब यहाँ पे अगर आपको कोई अचानक से कोई adverse drug reaction कहीं पे दिख रहा है तो ऐसी कंडीशन में you should report directly to the regulatory authority. But again, you should have to send them in a written format also. That is given by the regulatory authorities. Then, any additional information that is not available at the time of initial report. देखिए बहुत बार क्या होता है कि at the time of reporting, if it is not mentioned or in an initial report it is not mentioned, then it should be provided in a follow-up reports. मतलब initial report आप कर सकते हैं, उसके बाद में फॉलोअप रिपोर्ट भी आप कर सकते हैं. फॉलोअप रिपोर्ट में अगर कोई चीज इनिशियल रिपोर्ट में नहीं लिखी या फिर वो टाइम पे मालूम नहीं थी तो दैट कैन बी रिटन इन अ फॉलोअप रिपोर्ट्स. सो दिस इज अबाउट द स्पॉन्टेनियस रिपोर्ट मेथड इन द फार्माकोविजिलेंस मेथड. सो वन ऑफ द टेक्निक टू डिटेक्ट एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन. देन आफ्टरवर्ड्स एपिडेमियोलॉजिकल मेथड. Epidemiology, we can say epidemiology, that is also one of the branch of the medicine and which deals with the incidence, distribution and possible control of the disease. If we consider pharmacoepidemiology, then pharmacoepidemiology, it is the study of the utilization and effect of the drugs in large number of population or in a people. मतलब pharmacoepidemiology में हम यहाँ पे क्या करेंगे? We are doing one of the studies that how the drug that is utilized and what is the effect. See, this study that is doing the study we are doing on the large population. मतलब यहाँ पे large population और people में ये studies करनी है and it provides an estimate of the probability of beneficial effect of drug in a population and also it shows the probability of the adverse effect. मतलब यहाँ पे दोनों साइड दोनों इफेक्ट में एपिडेमियोलॉजिकल फार्माकोएपिडेमियोलॉजी स्टडीज अगर हम कर रहे हैं तो यहाँ पे हमें दोनों चीज मिलेगी. बेनिफिशियल इफेक्ट दैट आल्सो वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड एंड आल्सो देयर माइट बी द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ डिटेक्शन ऑफ एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन. सो फार्माकोएपिडेमियोलॉजी दैट इज यूजफुल अगेन फॉर अ सेफ्टी सर्विलेंस. वी आर डूइंग दिस. इट डिटेक्ट्स द हाइपोथेसिस ऑफ कैजुअल लिंक between the drug exposure and an adverse drug reaction. There is also two types of epidemiological studies that are the commonly used are the cohort study and the case control study. मतलब pharmacoepidemiology studies में again that is divided into two. That is the cohort study and another one that is the control study. We will see this one by one. See, this both the studies, cohort study and case control study, they utilize the comparison group. यहाँ पे हमें comparison करना है, दो ग्रुप होंगे और दोनों ग्रुप के बीच में हमें यहाँ पे comparison करना है. The principle of this studies is that we take a sample of patient from whom we determine both their exposure status and their outcome status. Exposure status as well as outcome status, that means adverse drug reaction. तो यहाँ पे दोनों पेशेंट के पास से सैंपल लेना है जहाँ पे एक्सपोजर भी है और एक्सपोजर स्टेटस मतलब ड्रग दी गई है हमने जो भी ड्रग दिया है and also the adverse drug reaction that has been found and the result that are compared with those from a group that represent non-exposed नॉन एक्सपोज पॉपुलेशन। मतलब यहाँ पे हमें पहले तो एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन जहाँ पे आया या फिर जिसको ड्रग दी गई है कोई, तो वो ग्रुप के पास से सैंपल लेना है, देन वी हैव टू कंपेयर दिस सैंपलिंग अगेन वन अनदर ग्रुप that has been non-exposed population, that is known as a non-exposed, that means यहाँ पे कोई adverse drug reaction नहीं है और यहाँ पे कोई drug भी नहीं दिया है। तो this is one of the technique to, and we are comparing here the group. First we will see about the cohort study. In the study, patients are entered according to their exposure status. Exposure status, that means we can consider that is exposed to a drug. We assemble one of the group of patients who are exposed to a drug and a non-exposed comparison group similar to them in all other important aspects. मतलब we will do one of the comparison in between two group. एक ग्रुप ऐसा है यहाँ पे कि जिनको ड्रग दी गई है, that has been exposed to the drug. मतलब यहाँ पे स्टडी देखिए, हम ये स्टडी स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं तो यहाँ पे हमें पहले कोई एक ड्रग दिया है और एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन मिल रहा है, तो ये कंडीशन में we will find out one of the group where the drug has been given, and one another group we will compare the study with the another group where the drug has not been given. Now the two groups are then followed timely and outcomes that means यहाँ पे हम consider करेंगे outcomes मतलब adverse drug reaction, and they will be observed and that will be recorded. देखिए यहाँ पे the study that has been started with the drug and that has been ended with the outcomes that means adverse drug reaction. देखिए ये study, the coherent study, this is also the name for the core study, that is used in situation where the adverse reaction is not rare, मतलब where the adverse reaction is common, जहाँ पे adverse reaction common है उसमें हम ये cohort study करेंगे। तो cohort study mainly again this is used to detect the adverse drug reaction, especially for a common adverse drug reaction. Then case control study, another one. We assemble a group of patients having the outcome, that means adverse reaction of interest. मतलब कोई adverse reaction मिल रहा है तो पहले हम यहाँ पे ग्रुप क्या करेंगे, यहाँ पे in this case study, case control study, the study it will start with the adverse drug reaction. मतलब ऐसा एक ग्रुप क्रिएट करेंगे जहाँ पे एक जैसा adverse drug reaction आ रहा है. Selected patients are then matched an important variable such as they will be matched on age, sex, disease severity with a similar group of individuals who did not have that outcomes. मतलब दूसरा एक ग्रुप क्रिएट करेंगे जहाँ पे ऐसा adverse drug reaction नहीं मिल रहा है. Then we determine whether the patient had been exposed to the drug under study and compare the groups. देखिए इसके बाद में हम पहले हमें एडवर्स ड्रग रिएक्शन के ऊपर से ग्रुप क्रिएट करने हैं, देन आफ्टरवर्ड्स we will study that whether the group that has been exposed to the drug under study मतलब उनको ये ड्रग दिया गया है या नहीं, and then afterwards we will compare with the another group in which there is no adverse reaction. Now this is useful for the study of rare adverse reaction. Rarely जहाँ पे अगर कोई adverse reaction rarely मिल रहा है, then in such a condition we can use case control study. And if exposure to the drug is not too uncommon, that means that exposure of the drug that is common. मतलब the study it will start with the ADR and it will end with the drug, end with the detection of the drug. So this is about the case control study. Then record linkage मतलब यहाँ पे it will bring together a variety of patient record. सभी जो record मिल रहे हैं उनको एक जगह पे इकट्ठा करना है. And then there is a specific example is prescription event monitoring scheme. देखिए prescription event monitoring scheme जो है that is also post marketing surveillance. This is one of the technique to gather the information about the adverse drug reaction, and this is little bit lengthy exercise. It is less expensive but time consuming method. So one another technique we can say that is the record linkage. Then now this was about the detection of adverse drug reaction. We considered about the pre-marketing studies and post-marketing studies. Now we will discuss about the reporting of adverse drug reaction. See, adverse drug reaction reporting, it is an integral part of the pharmacovigilance and drug safety surveillance. Normally drug regulatory authorities, they will collect this data for the various purposes. If we are considering the collection of the ADR in India, then in India there is CDSCO. In India, CDSCO, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, Directorate General of Health Service, under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, and this will work in collaboration with the Pharmacology Department, All India Institute of Medical Science, that means AIIMS, which is well known, that is located in New Delhi, to conduct the pharmacovigilance program nationwide. That means if the adverse drug reaction is there and it is detected, then to regulate this, there are two bodies we can consider which are working in under the control of Family Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. One of that is the CDSCO, and another one, that is the AIIMS. They are working in a collaboration with each other to detect the adverse drug reaction. The National Pharmacovigilance Advisory Committee, which is NPAC, this is also established under its guidance to monitor the ADR cases through various centers. Here, if you are considering, if you want to report, then there are different pharmacovigilance centers throughout the India. There are some peripheral centers, then afterwards the regional center, and then afterwards the zonal center that is located all over in the India. When a patient come across any ADR, then he or she, they should report it to any healthcare professional. मतलब यहाँ पे अगर ADR कहीं पे develop हो रहा है, then they should consult to the doctors, including dentists, nurses, and pharmacists. So this is one of the, we can say, the reporting of ADR. Then the healthcare professional. अभी यहाँ पे एक बार healthcare professional के हाथ में ये सब आया, वहां से आगे क्या करना है? Healthcare professional, they should report the suspected ADR to the Adverse Drug Reaction Monitoring Center, that is AMC, or to National Coordinating Center, that is PVPI, by filling required information in the Suspected Adverse Drug Reaction Reporting Form. मतलब यहाँ पे Suspected Adverse Drug Reaction Reporting का एक फॉर्म है और फॉर्म फिलअप करना है, जो एक फॉर्म फिलअप करने के बाद they have to report, मतलब यहाँ पे मान लीजिए कोई फार्मासिस्ट ने ADR का रिपोर्ट लिखा है, then they have to submit them to the AMC or National Coordinating Center. We will see the form over here. See, this one is the Suspected Adverse Drug Reaction Reporting Form, that is regulated by Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, IPC. See, this comes under the this is one of the National Coordination Center and Pharmacovigilance Program of India, PVPI, which is known as a PVPI, and which works under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, Ghaziabad. So, how it should be reported, which are the things? For example, the first thing we need to consider, that is a initial report and follow-up. Then afterwards, the information, patient initial, age at time of event or date of birth. Then afterwards, there will be the whether the male, female or others. Then weight we have to write the weight. Then suspected adverse reaction, adverse drug reaction कब start हुआ. Then what is the recovery? What is the describe the reaction? That means what was the reaction or what was the problem. Then suspected medication, medication के बारे में what was the name, manufacturing, batch number, what was the expiry date, dose, what was the dose, then what used by oral or parenteral or any other route if the patient has used, then frequency, once in a day, twice in a day, then what was the therapy dates, date started from, date stop, then indication, causality assessment. That means this all the things that should be included in this adverse drug reaction form. Then what action they have taken. देखिए adverse drug reaction detect हो रहा है तो उसके बाद में क्या किया, ड्रग बंद कर दिया या फिर डोज इंक्रीज, डोज रिड्यूस, डोज नॉट जो भी है उसके बारे में लिखना है. रिएक्शन रीअपीयरेंस आफ्टर द रीइंट्रोड्यूस, देखिए उसको एक बार फिर से लिया तो रिएक्शन फिर से स्टार्ट हो रहा है या नहीं. देन concomitant medical product इंक्लूडिंग सेल्फ मेडिकेशन, हर्बल मेडिसिन, रेमेडीज, मतलब इसके साथ में अगर कोई दूसरी मेडिकेशन भी यूज किया है तो दैट आल्सो शुड बी रिटन. देन सम एडिशनल इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट द रिलेवेंट टेस्ट, अगर पेशेंट ने कोई रिलेवेंट टेस्ट या फिर लेबोरेटरी टेस्टिंग करवाया है. देन मेडिकेशन हिस्ट्री, अगर कोई पेशेंट की मेडिकेशन हिस्ट्री है दैट इज रिगार्डिंग द एलर्जी, रेस, प्रेगनेंसी, स्मोकिंग, अल्कोहल, hepatic or renal dysfunction, then it should be mentioned in this form. Then seriousness of the reaction, whether there was a death, life-threatening, hospitalization, disability, congenital anomaly, then required intervention to prevent the permanent impairment or damage. So then outcomes of this: recovered, recovering, not recovered. So these all the things that should be included in an adverse drug reaction. And the name of the professional, email address, like this, the common details are there. Then this will be the confidential. It should be it should not be shown to anybody else. Then the data will not be disclosed anywhere regarding the information of the patient. And then afterwards, this is the address: National Coordination Center, Pharmacovigilance Program of India. And it should be mailed or it should be faxed. We can send it by a post also. See, duly filled suspected adverse drug reaction reporting form can be sent to the nearest adverse drug reaction monitoring center or directly to the NCC. And directly we can mail this field form to pvpi@ipcindia.net or pvpi@ipcindia@gmail.com. So this is about the ADR form. Then finally the data is analyzed and forwarded to the global pharmacovigilance database that is managed by WHO Uppsala Monitoring Center in Sweden. See, there is one of the monitoring center, adverse drug reaction monitoring center run by the WHO, that is situated in Uppsala in Sweden. The reports are periodically reviewed by the National Coordinating Center. The PVPI, they will, or the National Coordinating Center, they will review this and accordingly they will give their decision. See, this is the flow of ADR, the data at the regional, national and international level. See, initially we can consider, देखिए यहाँ से start हो रहा है हेल्थ केयर प्रोफेशनल एंड पेशेंट. यहाँ से अगर हमें कोई ADRs के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है देन दे हैव टू गिव इंफॉर्मेशन, दे हैव टू सप्लाई इंफॉर्मेशन टू ADR monitoring center. Same way, the ADR monitoring center, they will work with the CDSO zonal or subzonal offices. Then they will give this information about the adverse drug reaction to the National Coordination Center, IPC, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, Ghaziabad. And then afterwards, see, same way, NCC, अगर यहाँ पे हम कंसीडर करें कि यहाँ पे नेशनल कोऑर्डिनेशन सेंटर है, अगेन सेम वे ये दूसरा एक सीक्वेंस भी और फ्लो भी यहाँ से आ रहा है. दूसरा फ्लो ये है कि फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्रीज इन इंडिया, इफ दे आर अवेयर अबाउट द एनी ADR, then national immunization program, and professional bodies, if they are aware about the ADR, then they will inform directly to the CDSCO headquarter New Delhi and they will inform to the NCC. मतलब यहाँ से यहाँ पे पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है. Then afterwards, this NCC, they will inform to the international level to the Uppsala Monitoring Center at Sweden, and afterwards they will review such a ADR. So this is the flow of ADR, how the ADR will be detected and how it should be communicated to the higher authorities. So this is the flow and this is the flow for the reporting of the ADR. Then some websites are there we need to consider. First one, that is regarding the IPC, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission. देखिए यहाँ पे IPC, the information that is given regarding the IPC and the somebody that works under the IPC, IP, NFI, that is the National Formulary of India, then IPRS, IP reference substance, then R&D, then PVPI. See, this one is a PVPI program of India. That means Pharmacovigilance Program of India. Then also we should consider about the website. Another one, that is the PVPI. See, this one is the PVPI website. And the main thing we need to check over here, that is the ADR reporting. See, this one is the ADR reporting. ADR reporting form is there. This one is the ADR reporting form that we have seen. See, this Edward reporting ADR reporting form that also has been given in a Gujarati language also. This one in a Gujarati language. દવાઓની આડઅસરનું અહેવાલ form, that is for a ગ્રાહકો માટે. Over here you will get the information. The same form is there, and again the same thing that you have to send your report by mail or fax to the following address. Then the third thing we need to consider, देखिए ये पूरी प्रोसेस यहाँ पे खत्म हो गई एडीआर के बारे में. हमने स्वीडन तक मतलब अपसाला जो भी उनका सेंटर है वहां तक हमने इंफॉर्मेशन दे दी है, और that will be reviewed and then afterwards it will come to our country again and it will be reported over here in a adverse drug reaction related notification in a CDSCO website. See over here the notification adverse drug reaction. देखिए हम यहाँ पे एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं. अभी रिसेंटली देयर वाज अ क्लोरोक्विन के बारे में एक एग्जांपल है यहाँ पे. देखिए क्लोरोक्विन एसोसिएटेड स्टीवन जॉनसन सिंड्रोम एसजेएस टॉक्सिक एपिडर्मल नेक्रोलिसिस रिगार्डिंग. तो यहाँ पे 13 जनवरी 2020 का ये एक नोटिफिकेशन है. The National Coordination Center for Pharmacovigilance Program of India, functioning at IPC, has forwarded their recommendation based on ADR report on certain medicinal product including chloroquine, which were discussed by them in 15th Signal Review Panel SRP under the program meeting held on 19 September. तो यहाँ पे कब ये मीटिंग हुई वहां पे इसके बारे में लिखा है. Then in the meeting the PVP has evaluated that on the basis of individual case study report, that means ICSR, and recommended CDSCO to take necessary steps to incorporate Stevens-Johnson syndrome (SJS) and toxic epidermal necrolysis, that means TEN, as an adverse drug reaction into the prescribing information leaflet of the chloroquine marketed in the country. मतलब यहाँ पे now the company who are marketing the chloroquine, they have to include this adverse drug reaction. They have to mention this adverse drug reaction in the PIL, that means information leaflet जो भी product के साथ में आता है वहाँ पे ये prescribe वहाँ पे ये लिखना पड़ेगा. So this is the effect of the any adverse drug reaction that has been reported and that has been generated, that has been given to the CDSCO and it has been noted by the Uppsala, and afterwards that will again reviewed, and then afterwards the decision has been taken and this decision will be published over here on the website. So this is about the some website that's we should be aware about this. Then over here in this video we have considered about the detection of ADR. Then here we discuss about the pre-marketing studies, in that preclinical studies and clinical trials. Then post-marketing studies, where we discuss about the pharmacovigilance and epidemiological method and the reporting of ADR. So this was about detection and reporting of adverse drug reaction. Thank you for watching this video.